On today's Public Eye News, the UP 200 comes to a close and Michigan lawmakers look at possible changes to school cancellation regulations.
Grant Lukens has a look at our weather, while Nate Belleville tells us how the NMU women's basketball team clinched a home playoff game. All that and more on today's show. Hi, I'm Jillian Wormlinger.
I'm Mason Wallace. Welcome to Public Eye News. The Northern Michigan University Board of Trustees approved 2019-2020 room and board rates that are less than 1% higher than last year. The combined cost of a double occupancy room in a traditional residence hall with the Silver Constant Meal Plan will be $5,247, an increase of $44. NMU Board Chair Robert Mahaney said, quote, "Vice President Leach and his team do a great job not only with room and board but with the university's overall financial condition," end quote. The board also agreed that the Don H. Bottom University Center can be renamed the Northern Center. And transgender activist and author of Redefining Realness, Janet Mock, will be presenting at NMU on February 25th at 7:30 p.m. in Jamrich Hall. Her memoir was the first biography written from the perspective of a young trans person and is also this year's selection for the NMU Diversity Common Reader Program. Currently, Mock is the host of the series Never Before and writer, director, and producer for Ryan Murphy's FX series Pose. Time also included Mock on the list of 100 most influential people.
This morning, the UP 200 weekend has come to a conclusion with the annual awards breakfast. Mushers, board members, and the public gathered at the Holiday Inn in Marquette for breakfast and celebration for another successful race. Several awards were given out, including monetary awards. The Sportsmanship Award was presented to Laura Neese, and Martin Massicott took home the Dog Care Award. Following the awards breakfast, the UPDSA board members met to discuss what went well and what they can make better for the 31st UP 200. And drivers traveling between Escanaba and the Tilden mine area beginning today can expect delays. 4 large kiln components will be transported to the Tilden mine, temporarily blocking traffic. Contractors will move the oversized loads from Escanaba to the mine in Tilden Township. The moves are planned for Monday night through Friday morning, February 18th through the 22nd, in order to minimize traffic impacts. Michigan State Police will be escorting the oversized loads and assisting with traffic control during the operation.
One person is dead while another missing after a semi plunged off a bridge and into a lake near Wisconsin Dells. Authorities reported finding a damaged guardrail on Interstate 90-94 just north of Mirror Lake Bridge on Sauk County at 7:30 a.m. After further investigation, they found a semi completely submerged in the lake. Crews worked for hours to pull the semi from the water and found one person dead in the cab. The search for the second person was called off due to weather conditions and was expected to resume this morning. And after several days of school cancellations from frigid temperatures, lawmakers must now decide whether they should cut schools some slack. The current state law allows for schools to forgive 6 days being canceled, and they can also file to have another 3 days waived. Some districts in Michigan already have canceled up to 15 days. Newly introduced legislation would exclude days canceled during state-declared emergencies for counting as snow days. And stay tuned. After the break, we'll have your national and international news.
Broken support beams, dents, cracks, corrosions, and at any moment it could rupture and contaminate 20% of the world's fresh surface water.
We're North America's largest energy infrastructure company. We know how to do it safely.
What's at stake is an economy that completely depends on the health of the Great Lakes.
Tonight at 10:30 on Public TV 13.
And welcome back. If U.S. authorities conclude that European cars are a threat to national security and should be hit with tariffs, the European Union says that its reaction will be swift and adequate. The U.S. Commerce Department is expected to issue an opinion soon on whether auto imports endanger U.S. national security enough to justify import taxes. President Donald Trump would then have 90 days to decide whether to impose them. The EU and the U.S. have been trying to work out a trade deal, but progress has been slow. And former FBI acting director Andrew McCabe, the man who began the FBI investigations of President Trump, spoke publicly for the first time on 60 Minutes. He described the behind-the-scenes chaos after President Trump fired FBI Director James Comey. CBS News' Mark Liverman reports.
Andrew McCabe says President Trump's decision to fire FBI Director James Comey, who was at the time leading an investigation into Russian election interference, is what triggered a new Bureau investigation into the president in May of 2017.
A crime may have been committed. The president may have been engaged in obstruction of justice in the firing of Jim Comey.
McCabe, who took over as acting director of the Bureau following Comey's firing, said Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein offered to help try and determine if the president got rid of Comey in order to quash the Russia investigation.
In the context of that conversation, the Deputy Attorney General offered to wear a wire into the White House. He said, I never get searched when I go into the White House. I could easily wear a recording device. They wouldn't know it was there.
The White House says McCabe was discredited when the Department of Justice determined he lied to DOJ investigators about an FBI leak to a newspaper. McCabe was fired just days before his retirement. President Trump tweeted this morning, "Wow, so many lies," by now disgraced acting FBI Director Andrew McCabe. He was fired for lying, and now his story gets even more deranged. He and Rod Rosenstein, who was hired by Jeff Sessions, another beauty, looked like they were planning a very illegal act and got caught.
I believe I was fired because I opened a case against the President of the United States.
McCabe denies intentionally misleading FBI investigators and says he's considering suing to get his retirement benefits. And Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
British lawmakers are calling for stronger rules to keep Facebook and other tech firms from acting like digital gangsters and intentionally violating privacy and competition laws. As reports on fake news and disinformation on social media continues to grow, the committee recommended social media sites should have to follow mandatory codes of ethics. The British report said, quote, "It is evident that Facebook intentionally and knowingly violated both data privacy and anti-competition laws," end quote. Facebook has responded by saying it shared the committee's concerns about false news and election integrity and said they are open to meaningful regulation. And police say the suspect in a workplace shooting outside Chicago should have turned in the gun he used to kill 5 people. The victims include fathers of small children and a college intern who was on the first day of the job at a manufacturing warehouse in Aurora, Illinois. Adriana Diaz has more.
We want to pray today.
More than 1,500 people attended a prayer vigil Sunday outside the Henry Pratt Company. Their pain filled the air. Diana Juarez's father, Vicente, was one of those killed.
He's never gonna come home. Never.
Another victim, plant manager Josh Pinkard, sent a heartbreaking text to his wife, writing, "I love you. I've been shot at work." In a Facebook post, Tara Pinkard wrote, "It took me several times reading it for it to hit me that it was for real."
Aurora's requested as many ambulances as possible.
Police say the suspect, 45-year-old Gary Martin, brought a .40 caliber handgun to work and started shooting after he was fired. According to police, Martin was in illegal possession of a gun that he first purchased legally. He had a 1995 felony conviction for aggravated assault that did not come up on his background check when he legally bought the gun in March 2014. The conviction did show up when Martin applied for a concealed carry permit just a few days later, which requires fingerprinting. That prompted a letter from Illinois State Police ordering Martin to give up his gun to local law enforcement.
Is he supposed to volunteer the weapon, or if he doesn't show up with the weapon, should someone from State Police go to his house?
The letter states that he needs to voluntarily relinquish the weapon, and we're looking into whether we followed up on that and what agencies followed up on that.
4 of the 5 officers who were shot have been released from the hospital. The last officer is expected out soon. Adriana Diaz, CBS News, Aurora, Illinois.
And after this break, we'll be back with your weather and sports. Stay tuned.
Naples, Italy. 2 volcanoes, and 3 million lives at stake.
The most dangerous volcano in the world.
Scientists scramble for answers.
That spike in carbon dioxide might mean new magma coming into the volcano.
But can Pompeii offer clues? Can we predict?
This can erupt at any time, even tomorrow.
The next Pompeii on Nova.
Wednesday night at 9 on Public TV 13.
And welcome back to your Public Eye News weather. My name is Grant Lucas, and as you can see behind me, we have the beautiful but snowy NMU campus. And current conditions, it is currently partly cloudy with a temperature of 15, winds north-northwest at 13 miles per hour, and a barometric pressure of 30.46 inches and rising. Tonight it will be clear with a low of 3 degrees, winds west-southwest at 3. Tomorrow will be mostly sunny with a high of 25, winds southwest at 6 miles an hour. And moving across the UP, all around it is cloudy, but there are some areas such as Sault Ste. Marie, which is currently 12 and sunny. Over in Manistee, it is 18. Down in Escanaba, it is 20, and Menominee is 24. On the other half of the UP, Iron Mountain is currently 17, Ironwood is 13 degrees, Houghton is 14 degrees, and Marquette is 15 degrees and beautiful. And taking a look ahead, Wednesday will be a high of 26, a low of 22, and some snow. Thursday will have a high of 31, a low of 19, and cloudy. And Friday will start off with a high of 34 and a low of 25, and mostly sunny. Well, this snow that's coming up might bring some ice, and I hear you have some stories from the ice for us.
Yes, I do. There, Grant. Thanks. NMU hockey had a mixed weekend over Bemidji State University as they tied with the Beavers 2-2 in the Friday game, only to lose in overtime. Saturday's game wasn't much better as they were shot out 3-0. In Friday's game, Troy Loggins scored a short-handed goal in the first period for his 15th of the season, and Griffin Logren recorded his 5th of the season in the third period. Senior goaltender Ate Tolvanen accounted 29 saves despite the team being shut out last Saturday. NMU currently is tied for 4th with Bemidji in this WCHA overall. NMU basketball teams faced off with the Lake Superior State University Lakers last Saturday, and both women's and men's teams won by the scores of 63-47 in the women's game and 73-68 in the men's game. The victory in the women's game clinches a playoff spot and a home playoff matchup for the Wildcats. Senior guard Darby Youngstrom led NMU with 15 points in the women's contest, while senior Isaiah Johnson led the men's game with 26 points, along with shooting 8 for 8 from the three-throw line. Youngstrom is only 35 points away from eclipsing 1,000 in her career. The Detroit Red Wings home-and-home series with the Philadelphia Flyers ended with the Flyers earning both victories as they won 6-5 in overtime in the Saturday game and 3-1 from last night's game in Detroit. Forward Anthony Mantha scored 2 goals, including a game-tying goal in the Saturday game for Detroit, but Philadelphia's Travis Kokechny scored the overtime goal for the Flyers. In last night's game, center Darren Helm netted Detroit's only goal, and goaltenders Jimmy Howard and Jonathan Bernier combined for 22 saves in the loss. And that will do it for your Public Eye News here today. Thank you for joining in. Have a great Monday, everyone.
The preceding program was produced in studios located in the Edgar L. Hardin Learning Resources Center by WNMU-TV, Northern Michigan University Public Television.